Global warming is a controversial subject with plenty of facts and assumptions that leave room for speculation. And I believe that we should be adapting to global warming as opposed to trying to stop it. Global warming is a hot topic among scientists and in the science community today. For decades, scientists have been describing it, trying to explain it, prove it, find reasons for it, time it, and stuff like that. The main points that I'm going to cover in my speech today are going to be that the Earth is going through a natural cycle and that it will end on its own and change. We don't know when, though. Global warming is a measurable scientific fact. The OSS Foundation, or Open Source Systems Foundation, states that in the natural cycle, the world can warm and cool without any human interference. So it happens naturally without us interfering in it. This is something that we have observed through the Earth's geography and through science and testing things. One of the assumptions is that they use millions of years to time it, so the timing is an assumption. The OSS Foundation also states that for the past million years, this has occurred over and over again at approximately 100,000 year intervals. They get these times from carbon dating and other things that are not 100% proven fact yet. So those are assumptions that they have to make in order to say that it's millions of years and to come up with the timing. So that's why the timing is something that we can't solidify yet. Science has also shown that we don't know when the next cooling period is going to start, when the warming period is going to end. The Union for Concerned Scientists says that it is going to continue to warm and that we don't know when it's going to stop. That they also believe it is affected directly by us, by humans, and that if we affect it, we can help prevent it, we can help slow it down. The common belief is that global warming is happening too quickly because of us, and that we need to do something in order to prevent global warming from continuing instead of adapting to it. It's possible that, based on my research and what I understand, that the cooling period could be beginning anytime soon, and we're not ready for that. We assume that the devastating effects of the heating up and the oceans getting bigger and possibly flooding are the most devastating things to our economy and to our civilization. However, we could probably adapt to warmer climates and move around, and won't affect everything in the world. It would affect coastal areas and stuff, but there's no telling whether the Earth will drastically shift into a cooling period before it gets out of hand. If the Earth's natural process is to warm and cool, that is both cited by the Open Source Systems page and by the Union for Concerned Scientists, that it is gradually warming, but part of the Earth's natural cycle is for it to begin to cool again. So if we don't talk about the cooling cycle, then we're missing an entire half of the climate change process. Climate change process is going to happen with or without us, and if we don't pay attention to it and adapt to it, then it's possible that we will be blindsided by too cold of temperatures, which can affect us more drastically than warming temperatures, in the sense that where we grow most of our crops could be completely ungrowable. We could have to adapt our whole entire technique on how we grow to moving to indoor systems, which would be extremely difficult because we use millions of acres of land to grow all of our crops in America. So we would have to create extremely large buildings to grow that same amount of produce inside. So it is important that we make sure to adapt to the temperatures, and if it gets too hot somewhere and the water starts to flood, it's probably time to move on from that area, or possibly build our structures in a way that brings them up out of the water. However, we do need to make sure that we focus on the cooling side of this and make sure that we don't forget that we're going to spend all this time trying to cool the world down, and we might turn around in a few years and be on the opposite end of climate change, which is ice ages. And from what we know from ice ages, they're pretty drastic. So that's the conclusion of my speech, is we need to be more aware of the change so that we can adapt to it instead of trying to stop it, and instead of trying to use it as a reason to create new and different type of machinery. We should be trying to create new and different types of machinery that help us to adapt to the situation.